All right, time for the West Village Shops, Desert Hills outlets, these retrofit ovals here. So I'm going to give you just a basic overview. This is going to be quite a lot of work. So as much as I don't like to do this because sometimes you can get ahead of yourself, I'm going to go ahead and start sending parts because we got to get cracking. So as usual, everything's due tomorrow. So just as an overview though, there's 2 large ovals and 2 smaller ovals, both the same size, and these 2 are the same size. And then one of them's hanging from a trellis, so the backside's visible. So we're going over that. But just that's the scope. The idea is that all this stuff here remains. This is existing. And currently the ovals only have one big giant face with the return welded that has push through, just one big face. So we're going to be taking off their face and using their oval cabinet, which is roughly 5 inches. These are the bigger ones are 5 1/4 deep. And we're leaving their trellis thing, their kind of, scrolly part. And then we're adding a cabinet. The idea was, well, then you just add a new face with a return around it that you screw to this thing. But this one has 3-inch deep push through cabinets that are changeable. And then these are cabinets as well. These little faces come off. And then these are face lit regular channel letter cabinets here and here that actually come down and extend below. So that's completely new. So that right there means that whole idea of just taking off their face and then screwing on a new one is completely blown out of the water because this thing's so heavy and so big. So as usual, we have to take a long way around in order to make something look like it's easy, but there's actually going to be a lot behind it. So we're starting out with that oval thing, but then because we are going to be attaching it to the wall instead, so you can see where their orange thing is their existing cabinet we're leaving, and then they're taking off their face, we're taking that off. But instead of trying to attach all this weight, we're going to go back to the wall and attach it based on kind of the cabinets we make. So this is similar to the backer that we make on our shoebox cabinets. A lot of the ones that are out in Cabazon as it is already, except it's just going to be the frame. And then we're going to be lordsing faces to it. So you'll have your backer frame piece, which is about 4 something deep. We're going to 45 the edges there. We've done this before. That way there's clearance. And then it's going to get a series of C channels across the front. So that way we can then create openings for the slide-in faces here, the push-throughs. And then each of these panels come off. So it's like making a frame, skinning it, and then all of this will be 090 flapping face. So then each of those will need to have some sort of a reinforcement spar that comes off of the frame. So these are just going to be jiggies that poke out through. They're going to skewer out. And then if you see here in the purple, the side of the cabinet here, and then you're going to have this finger that's going to stick out, and you're going to weld it along there. And then that's going to support all of this skin that's just flapping. So we have our basic box, and then we're adding this kind of frilly surround. And then these guys here in green will be 1/4 inch actual jigs that will incorporate through and out. And then that's how the top box regular channel letter actually attaches up here. You see there in green, it's going to actually attach to the 1/4 inch spars that are coming out, and you'll have 5/16 riv nuts holding everything together. So, but that's a whole other thing to jump off of. And then down here, we're going to have another hanging facelet trim cap. This will be trim cap. This one's trim cap, same thing, except this cabinet's down here and it actually hangs off. So this is 3 inches deep. That matches these cabinets. And then these cabinets here that's the 3-inch deep, and this is the 3-inch deep. So this 090 return strap thing is like 4 1/4 tall. It works its way around this way. So there's that you got to deal with. You got to make basically cabinets for the top. You got to make this circle cabinet here. Then we got to make this frame. And then it's just a series of welding together and making little panels and custom kind of shaped panels, but basically the same thing. Then it's just a bunch of bending track systems, and you'll be just riveting those on directly once we're all said and done. So again, it's like a lot of stuff we do. Nothing about it is like difficult. It's just that there's a bunch of different methods all put into one thing. So lay of the land. So what I'm sending is retainer ears. These are 090. Look for bend scribes and look for an inside scribe mark there, little reference kiss. That's like, you know how we do, that's where you kind of start and give you a reference point to start. And then look for these returns. These returns are 4 1/4. So you'll know that these go with that. And this is your 2 cabinets, the 2 top cabinets. These are essentially like we do regular channel letter, except not reverse channel. The returns go on the outside. So we'll go over that. But again, look for some inside reference kiss marks on those. And then, you know, you'll have a bend scribe for a weld point there for the seam up top. And then the 090 backers for the circle logos. And look for some reference kiss marks there. And you'll have one reference kiss mark that will let you know to line up the skin, you know, the oval there. And then because these are getting a little bit tight radius, I went ahead, and the fact that these are hanging down in space, I wanted to save a little bit of weight. So I'm doing the returns out of 063 on that. So keep an eye out for those. Again, inside reference kiss mark, and you'll have a U-all hole already there. So you have the smaller top and the wider bottom for those. And you've got bends there. So go ahead and bend those up. That'll be for your seams. Now I went ahead and jumped ahead because I'm working on the big logo. But I went ahead and jumped ahead, and all I had to do was oversize the other ones. And so this should work out. So I went ahead and given you all of the acrylic for a whole job. That way they can get the vinyl going, get all that going. So, and then I went ahead and sent a tester. I'd like to get this done as soon as possible to make sure I got my eye in. This will be an example, a very small version of our slide track to make sure everything's working. And then we can keep it for future reference, you know, in case we want to make something like this again. Hope not, but you know we will. So let's start with the top box. We're here. This might as well. So the fact that, let's explain how this works. So they wanted, so here's the, I'm going to paint this purple, let's say. Okay, so this represents the face of the sign. Now they wanted 3-inch deep boxes, and they wanted the return here. They wanted this return strap to be the same height as those boxes. And then they wanted it to return back to look like it's actually attaching the way it did back in the day. So I'll show you here. Yeah, so that would be where the strap comes in and bonks against the cabinet, and then that strap comes around and it's going to bonk into the circle there, and then the circle is going to go around. Now the circle and the top cabinet, because it's a trim cap face, is actually further out than the boxes. So it's only the backside of all of these that we're worried about. But that means that you need to weld the backer of each of these things at a precise spot. So that way, when this gets bolted under quarter and this one actually gets put underneath, and then this one, the circle, gets put on top of 09, they're going to be off by a 3/16 back and forth. So that's why it was important to get this going. A lot to think about, but you know, once we get it figured out, it's all good. So in order for the backside to line up properly, I went ahead and cooked the dimensions of this to where get your 4x out and get some 3x out. Whether you cut some little chunks or make little blocks, or some of these you'll just use big pieces. Get some cleaned up, get it ready, and make sure your table's flat, because that's the secret sauce. So you're going to take the backer. The backer's going to have reference kisses, and that's the back side. Put that up on your table, and it's going to look like that. So put the backer across your table, set it up on some 4x, and then you're going to take your returns, and you're going to start, you can start with the bottom if you want, and these reference kisses will line up with your reference kisses there, and then you can, you know, start in the middle and work your way out. Now you're going to be welding on the back side, and you're going to be all the way along, go all the way around. So do your top, and then your bottom, and then your top is in 2 pieces because it was too long. So I made a notch so you can, hook the one side, bend it in there, go ahead and go all the way around. I gave you 1 inch on all of them. Everything's got 1 inch extra. And then your 2 side pieces are of the size. So go ahead and do your top and bottom first, and then wedge in your side, get it all square, get it sexy, and then burn it in. So the first thing you're going to do, lay it on your table, put it on 4x. That will set your depth, and everything should just be right there. These notches are for where it's going to mount to the sticks. So that's already cooked in there for you. And I gave you like a 16th on both sides, so people won't even see it. But I put the rest of it on there so that we have something to weld to. Then what you're going to do is, once you get that all done, get it tacked up, then flip it over, and you can't, and because this is like a regular channel letter, go ahead and weld it up on the inside and close up your seams. So again, that's fine. Weld this up nice and strong. And then that gives you sort of like a hollow back, and then that matches the strap, backer strap there, that depth right there. So 4x4s, put that backside up, go ahead and do it, boom, 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 do both of those, and that thing's ready to go. So that's the top box, do 2 of those. The small circle, because it actually steps down and it attaches to the sign itself and then it steps down, what you're going to do for this one is you have a center 090, start with the top first, right? And you're going to put it face up on your table, and it's just going to go flush. Now, again, you're going to go on the outside of this. I know we usually go on the top reverse channel letter style, not on this. So get this lined up, and it is important that you get this lined up on center and get that lined up just right, because the idea is that I don't have any extra. It's just going to die right there. But that's where the strap comes in. And so this whole part here sits directly on, and that gives you basically 4 inches deep there. Then you have to dummy up the rest of it to make it look like it's actually deeper. That hangs off. So that gives you this part here. So again, on the table, face up, just wrap it across the top and then tack it on the inside, and you're good to go. Then you're going to get 4x4 again, same as the other one, except obviously this isn't that big. This is only 20 inches wide. So again, you might want to cut a couple chunks. Then you're going to put, then this face, this return should be against your table, and then this should support the rest of the way. And then just go ahead and burn it all the way around, and then burn your seam or whatever, and then flip it back around and stitch up your seam. That's why I gave you 90s here to stitch up your seam. And those should just go right up in there like that. Nice, and that'll give you a place to tack it to and stuff. So from this way around, it's, how wide is this one? 5. So 5 and 5.43. And then this will be 3 or 4. So anyway, but that gives us our step. And then you can see where this will just mount directly after paint. Install can just put it up there because it's going to be kind of flimsy, so it'll travel without that on. And then install will put it in there. And then now the retainer ears. So this took a little bit of thinking because go back with me to the beginning. So when you do this big frame, you're actually going to have 5 different skin pieces, because this right here is like almost 50 inches across. So this will be one big seam piece right here, or skin piece, and it'll straddle there. And then because this is so big, you'll actually have a seam piece here, and you'll have a piece here. And so it'll be lordsing here, and then just lordsing on these fingers. But then this is just flappy 09, nothing, right? So they wanted to then tack a strip around, but what happens when you tack it. Plus this thing is, 16 feet. So flipping this back over and welding it from the backside, because you don't want to see welds on the front. Plus this is going to be the handle. So you can imagine the nightmare that you're going to go ahead and lords this face on to this, and you're going to have this flappy area. Then you're going to try to manhandle, flip it back over, or lady handle, whatever. And then you're going to try to tack this after it's been lords. It's going to cook it, and it's going to start shrinking and get angry, and we could be popping lords. So I had to go around. Plus, so and also it doesn't matter. Even when you've tacked it, people are going to use this as a handle. It can pop off, and oh boy. So, and to make it easier on you guys as well, I figured what I would do is make ears. So I went ahead and chopped off that retainer size, and I made it 2 inches deep. And that way, that gives you the ability to just weld this together on your table, free form, make sure it's strong. And then later we can put it on there with lords and everything and make sure it's nice and strong. And I think it's a good solution. That way you're not you can do these separately, get them ready, and then deal with any heat things. You can sort of tweak them or whatever, and then that way we'll have a nice strong bond, and it's like a component you can set aside. And when you're all done lordsing and stuff, you're not having to manhandle this and try to tack weld this and then jack it all up. So same thing here. We're just trying to mimic the back to make it look like it's all one piece. So this one's 3x. So get yourself some 3x. Set this onto your table. Make sure the word back is facing up. And then you're going to start your seam. It's just a butt seam though. There's no 45s or anything. So just get it in this area and go one direction, and then start going this way and work your way around and let it go long. I have 1 inch long. You're just going to square it up with this and slice it flush and make it look nice. Same thing down here. So you'll have 1 inch of return sticking out, square it up, cut it off. So you'll have 4 of these, 2 per sign. And I think that's a nice, elegant solution to making sure this is nice and strong. And then, like I say, we're going to have 2 inches of this. When it comes time, the very, very last thing you're probably going to do is lords these on. You'll see that even here, this is going to help stabilize that face seam. So this is going to be a nice solution. Plus, you just lords the crud out of it. I imagine what we'll do is do a couple of rivets here, flush rivets, just for, you know, help. Maybe do these 2, and then just to make sure we do like a few rivets here, just to give that extra, you know, because like I say, people are going to use this as a handle to carry this thing around prep and paint and stuff. So we want to make sure that's nice and strong. So, but you know that when you weld this, even on your table, this is going to start to change shape. So when it goes time to put this on, we might have to manhandle a little bit. And even when we cleco it, that's why I'm saying I'd like to back that up with some rivets just in case. But we're really going to lords the crud out of it. But you can see where that'll be a nice stabilizer there. It'll make that nice and strong. That way, just this flappy 09 here will have a nice rigid, you know, we'll be good to go. Let's see. Oh, the seam. So you're going to have a seam right here, which is going to be 3 inches with nothing. So I'm saying that it'll be okay because these things will be up so high that if you were to just cut a square of 050, you know, and then just lords it right across there, just keep it back from the edge so nobody sees it. But I think that would be enough to stabilize that, and nobody's going to see it from the, you know, from the street. Your boxes start right here, so it'll be well hidden. You know, you can't really do anything out here. And maybe inject some lords, and then when they bondo that, that'll be nice and clean. So that'll be nice and stabilized. So anyway, I hope that's good enough for right now, just to get the party started. The next explanations, the next videos probably won't be as long because now you know the overall scope. But okie dokie. Otherwise, good luck.